Connecticut Foundations. This video provides information about enrolling children and families in an early start funded space. Today, we're going to cover the steps you can take when enrolling a child in an early start funded space. First, I'm going to share some general information to keep in mind as you enroll children. Your early start contract includes the spaces awarded to your program based on what you requested and what was approved. These space types describe the ages of the children, whether the space is 10 or 12 months in duration, and the amount of time care is offered each week. If you've made any requests to change the numbers or types of spaces, you will need to keep a careful record so that you have accurate details as you assign children to the spaces that align with their age and need. Remember, it's important that you confirm and document a child's eligibility for an early start space before you enroll them in that space. We know that you're managing the big picture of your program, and that the early start Connecticut funded spaces may not represent all of the spaces in your program. While the processes and suggestions here are specific to early start, you'll want to think about how you plan your overall intake process to make it as smooth as possible for families and for you. There are 3 things to consider when matching a family and child to an early start space. Space types are outlined in your contract and in General Policy A06. Each space type includes information about the ages of the children who are eligible to enroll, the level of care or the hours each week that care is offered, and the months of care that are offered throughout the year. The space type should align with the child's age and the family's need for care. If you have an available space in your program that aligns well, then you must also determine eligibility. General Policy A05 covers eligibility for early start spaces. As you work to determine if a child and family is eligible for one of the early start spaces you have, you'll need to consider the child's age, which is confirmed with a birth certificate, the family's income, where the child lives or their residency, and you'll need to monitor their attendance over time to make sure they remain eligible. We'll cover each of these things briefly, and then we'll share some suggestions for your program enrollment processes. This slide includes the 3 different age ranges associated with the different space types. To be eligible for an infant and toddler space, children should be between 6 weeks and 3 years of age. Preschool spaces are for children from 3 years of age up until they are eligible for kindergarten. However, you may enroll children in a preschool space when they are 2 years, 8 months of age, if this is agreed upon by both the parents and the program. School age care is for children enrolled in kindergarten through the age of 12. Keep in mind that as time passes, children will age out of their current space type, so you will need to have a plan for when a child is no longer age eligible for their current space type. You will need official documentation of their age to confirm their eligibility. A birth certificate is required to both confirm the birth date and the child's name. A family has 8 weeks to provide a copy of a birth certificate for any child who is born outside of Connecticut. If the birth certificate is written in a language other than English, it should be accompanied by an English translation. If a family is unable to provide a birth certificate, a valid, non-expired passport may be used to confirm the child's legal name and birth date. As a part of your enrollment processes, you'll need to ask for the birth certificate, and if a family does not have that birth certificate or the valid non-expired passport, You'll need to make sure that they understand the timelines for being able to provide this and what the impact might be if they are unable to do so. The current requirement for early start is that 60% of families enrolled fall at or below 75% of the state median income level. This means that you will need to confirm family income. This is usually done while determining family fees, but you'll also need to make sure to have a process to track the income of all of the families to make sure you're meeting this 60% requirement. While you'll need to document income and track how many families fall at or below this income, remember that 40% of the children enrolled in the early start spaces at your program can exceed that threshold. Children and families who reside in Connecticut are eligible to enroll in early start spaces. Therefore, you need to document a family's residency to determine eligibility. Leases, mortgages, utility bills, and bank statements are common documents used to prove residency. In addition to Connecticut residents, families from Massachusetts, New York, and Rhode Island who have child care subsidies from their state that can be used in Connecticut are also eligible for early start spaces. Next, I'm going to touch upon children remaining eligible once they are enrolled. We already mentioned the importance of considering changes in children's ages. Children must also attend the program. To be reimbursed for a space for a given month, a child must have attended the program at least one day that month. In order to remain enrolled, a child must not be at that minimum threshold for more than 2 months out of any given fiscal year. In other words, they must attend 2 or more days a month for 10 months if they are enrolled in a 12-month program, or for at least 8 months if they are in a 10-month space. To prepare for enrolling children, consider your program's enrollment forms and processes. Do they capture the information that you need to determine eligibility? Do they capture the information that you will need to report to OEC and ECE reporter? Things such as race, whether a child has an IFSP or IEP? If not, will you update your forms, or will you request additional information from families who are enrolled in early start spaces? You'll want to make sure you have a plan to verify income and calculate family fees. You'll also want to make sure you're tracking space types, enrollment, and spaces you have open, as well as family income across all the families enrolled in early start spaces. To recap, you'll want to consider the match between the space types in your contract for the child and family. You'll need to determine eligibility for that space. That process includes confirming the child's legal name and age, using a birth certificate or current valid passport, documenting residency, documenting family income, and tracking ongoing attendance. For more information and to find the general policies, you can visit our website at www.ctoec.org. You can also contact your Early Start liaison or your OEC assigned program manager. Thank you.